Hey everybody, welcome back. It's the CALLOUS Draft League Semifinals, and I want to update you on the score because I know the last that you looked, it was 3-1 purple. Well, it is now 5-1 purple. The reason that you guys didn't see that is because one of the team drafts, they agreed to do an all UU draft. Not just one pairing, the whole damn draft drafted UU. And I didn't feel like covering that. I don't know enough about UU. I don't care enough about UU. I just didn't want to do it, so I didn't. But some of those matches played out, and that leaves us in a 5-1 purple advantage, which was zero disrespect intended to purple. Wasn't what most people thought. Was not the most likely outcome. Orange had significantly more points than purple did in the regular season. They were the superior seed. People thought they were going to win, but right now that is not the case. And Rager, who I think had a lopsided draft over Blizz, can now secure his team a place in the finals if he manages to execute with that really good draft and defeat Blizz here. So Blizz for the orange team needs to win here, as do all his other remaining teammates, to force a tiebreaker. Otherwise, it will be the purple team facing the green team in the finals. This is a best of 3. A link to their draft is in the description. Like I said, I thought Rager handily won this draft. Here are the games. Blizihguh, BlizzCon. He's on the bottom for orange. Rager88, much simpler name, is on the top for purple. Smeargle didn't like the opening matchup. We end up with Dusclops on Zapdos, and not a good start. Shadow Ball does not even pop Substitute. And he had Ice Beam all along that he didn't feel like clicking. That makes sense. Okay, here comes Arcanine. Pain Split. Fair enough. That gets Dusclops damn near full health, because remember, its base HP very, very low. Its bulk is derived from its very high defense and special defense, but its HP is Garbaggio. Toxic there, aimed at Arcanine, is going to whiff on Venusaur. And Venusaur is going to go for Swords Dance. We have seen a good amount of physical Venusaur. However, 75-25 Sleep Powder doesn't cooperate. Ironically, 75-25 Will-O-Wisp coming back does cooperate. So an unlucky turn for Rager, and certainly if it is a physical Venusaur, Will-O-Wisp sucks. Going to make Swords Dance, and anything that goes with Swords Dance, pretty bad. Does manage to get a sleep off, but it instantly gets lummed away by the lead Smeargle. Got a spike down, perhaps a second one coming. Indeed. And Rager has not yet shown a spinner. Rock Slide there on the Dusclops, fair enough. And here comes Arcanine for Intimidate. And Milotic, which generally does counter it. And it's got Marvel Scale active at the moment. If that ends up coming up, I say at the moment, of course, because it could have Rest or Refresh to make that go away. Here comes Porygon 2. Takes Thunderbolt reasonably well in a Sandless game. Not great at 40%, but because it is Sandless, it is way better off handling that. And he T-Waves into a Substitute Pokemon, so that was risky, but he gets paid off in this case. Rager did not anticipate that and go for Substitute, so his Zapdos is going to be paralyzed. Brick Break there did so little, and by so little I mean 39%, still a good chunk, but it did so little because of Marvel Scale. And there is Recover for Milotic. Now Smeargle coming down. Substitute. And Encore is going to lock him on Substitute. Fair enough. It's going to prompt a switch. Here comes Dugtrio. And Spikes number 3 come down, but yep, that's going to be the end of the day for Smeargle. Our first KO and a 6-5 advantage for Rager. However, unless something disastrous happens here, and I'm kind of surprised he didn't recover loop him there and go through the motions. I believe that is a misplay, but the Porygon 2 does get the revenge kill against the Dugtrio. Leaves us in a 5-5. Rock Slide there, swing and a miss, and now Medicham is poisoned. Going to be an obvious recover turn from Milotic, but we'll see what Rager does. He does not recover, fair enough. He goes to Porygon 2 instead, which does Trace Water Absorb here. We've got Wish floating, 38% from T-Bolt, can protect and eat his own Wish perhaps. No, he's got Substitute instead, which, fair enough. Still going to let him eat his own Wish, but at the cost of 25 additional percent. Going to Wish again, and this time he's going to find himself Thunder Waved. Another opportunity to block Thunder Wave with Sub, but he doesn't do it, so Porygon 2 has somehow managed to successfully Thunder Wave against two different Substitute Pokemon. Nevertheless, Vaporeon seems to be hanging in there pretty strong. And it finally does Baton Pass out. Medicham is going to be the guy. Just 10% after Toxic and Spikes, but we'll get one last chance, and he does take advantage of it. He does maximize that last chance by correctly predicting the Dusclops, clicking Shadow Ball, and deleting that poke. So we've got ourselves a 4-4, and the extreme speed is extreme underwhelming because of Marvel Scale. 11%, not going to do it. And Milotic does now get the recover off. Zapdos sneaks in, it's paralyzed, but it's still a threat to Milotic without a doubt. And Thunderbolt instead is going to find Porygon 2 with a critical hit, but P2 going to be faster because of the para, so obviously he's just going to recover here. And pending another crit, P2 should be able to recover, pun intended, from this scenario. And in fact, it's back up to a hundo as he sits there and tries to fish for a full power that has not yet come. Gonna switch it up to Ice Beam, 42%. And he's gonna get crit for his greed. That's why you keep recovering until full power, my friend. Punished for his greed. Leaves us in a 4-3 situation. Blaziken comes in for the first time. Power Flinch activates. Behind a sub. Zapdos down. Having Blaziken behind a sub, a wonderful place to be. And that looks like a poke that Rager really doesn't have a great answer to anymore. Fire Blast missing helps, but Earthquake there, I mean, I guess it's good enough to pop the sub, but remember, he is suffering from that burn. And he does reestablish a sub, which I think is important. It's hard for Rager to dance around and try to outmaneuver this thing with those spikes down. Though it is noteworthy that Rock Slide does not kill there, thanks in part to Intimidate. And the Blaziken does pull it back for now. We end up with Milotic on the Arcanine again. Arcanine dies to the Surf, leaves us in a 2-3. Vaporeon at just 12%, but the Milotic might not be able to kill it, and it does go up to 19 with lefties. Probably going to try to Wish there. Unfortunately, full power kicks in. And I believe, Houston, we have a problem. Blizz is again fishing for full powers here. Gonna go for Combine. Ice Beam gives him a chance to crit or freeze. And like clockwork, it's frozen. Some people never learn. Why are we not continuing to sub down and fish for full para? He is an impatient man, and he has been punished for it twice. The Raikou does forgive him in Thaw, but man, can make this much, much easier on yourself by fishing for those full paras. Doesn't matter anymore. +1 Thunderbolt, going to take out Vaporeon, and in this case is going to take out the Venusaur as well. And despite a couple of decisions that I think are questionable, it is Blizz taking down Game 1. And like I said, I thought Rager had the vastly superior draft, so good on Blizz for taking this one. And if he takes Game 2 or a theoretical Game 3, Orange Team will live to fight another day, and we will have more matches to watch. In the meantime, here is Game 2. I will switch those sides for continuity. Blizihguh, I'm just calling him Blizz. You know, he's on the bottom, and on top, we've got Rager. Here we go. T-Tar lead and Fori lead. Probably, okay, I was going to say probably Fori is going to test the waters and spike up there, but I guess a Fire Blast or something was possible. Instead, we've got a T-Tar immediately Dragon Dancing up, and he's going to go for Hidden Power, probably Bug, aimed at Slowking. Finds Wheezing instead. Will-O-Wisp is going to connect through the accuracy and the flinch, but it is immediately Lumburied away. Going to go for Rock Slide again. And this time Will-O-Wisp does not connect, crucially. That's a pretty big deal. Will-O-Wisp there would have largely neutered the DD Tar, but As it stands, he now has a second Dragon Dance, and Fori can only muster up an Earthquake, which without a crit, which he does not find, is not going to be good enough. And now that's down as well. Major damage being dealt by this Cheetar, and a critical hit there, and it would not have killed without. This might be a real quick game too. I think we have a lead DD-Tar sweep without even revealing an additional Pokemon. That's looking like exactly what's happening here. Yeah, there you go. Cheetar sweeps on its own. Couple of instances of luck there, obviously, with the Will-O-Wisp missing, for example, with the critical hit on Registeel, for example, with the Cheetar itself not getting crit a couple of times. So obviously certain things had to go the way of Rager in order for that sweep to occur, but kind of a disaster when they do. One-man band. Cheetar sweeps on its own. Now, obviously, he has to show team at the end, so there are 5 other pokes that he can't use in the upcoming game. But Cheetar doesn't need teammates in this case. He does it all by himself. Well, that changes things. Blizz won a hard-fought Game 1. This was much less hard-fought, just 11 turns. Just like that, we are going to Game 3. I'll switch those sides for continuity. I emphasize again, Blizz must win, or Orange is eliminated from the tournament, and Purple will be in the finals against Green. Can Blizz save his team? Here is Game 3. Regirock and Gengar, respectively, stays in for the Will-O-Wisp, lummed away. And Rock Slide back is not what I was expecting. I thought it would be a T-Wave there, but fair enough. Will-O-Wisp again. It's going to miss. I'm having deja vu. I feel like first while hitting, second one missing is something that I just said in the previous game. Regardless, here's a Toxic from Umbreon connecting with Slowbro. Baton pass out. We know that Slowbro's staying in. Sceptile in to try to deal with it. Can probably just click Substitute here and Toxic stall him down. And that seems to be what he was intending. Here comes Regice. Leech Seed, going to be obnoxious for him. And nothing preventing him, if he would like, from reestablishing sub here, which I would imagine he will do. And indeed, that's what happens. Jolteon comes in to check it now. Hidden Power Ice pops the sub. And he's going to eat a Leaf Blade for his trouble. 36%, not the end of the world. Jolteon, even though it's not really a bulky Pokemon, it actually does have pretty high base special defense, believe it or not. So now Umbreon into Gardevoir. The fact that it's behind a sub is going to make life difficult. You can't Toxic it back there. And unlike Flareon, Vaporeon, and Jolteon, Umbreon and Espeon do not learn Roar, which is a little interesting. It kind of feels like they should. But alas, they do not. He's going to taunt him here, and he's going to get Fire Punched. He's trying to get him to succumb to Destiny Bond here. But obviously, Rager not going to fall for that, so Gardevoir did some decent damage there with not really a lot of consequence. Lantern on Jolteon, obviously not going to T-Bolt into that. Instead, it is Baton Pass with a Substitute to the Gardevoir, and the Substitute does get popped. Now Regice coming in, and Mence respectively. Obviously, Regice can one-hit KO the Salamence, so out of the way it goes. Here is Lantern. T-Wave may or may not matter there. Lantern very often does carry Rest, so we'll see. Ice Beam there on Umbreon. Great Special Wall, takes just 20%. And that is an unfortunate miss for Blizz. The Toxic that time would have stuck on the Regirock since he already popped his Lumberry. In comes Donphan, so now the full team is revealed for Blizz, and he's going to get what is obviously a non-choice band Earthquake off on the Slowbro. Full team now revealed for Rager as well, as Gyarados comes in for the first time. Slowbro in, Donphan in, a little bit of switching for both. Toxic still going on the Bro. Not anymore. Gonna rest it away. In comes Sceptile to try to punish that. Meets the Jolteon again, just like it did before. Jolteon we know has HP Ice. But it's going to Baton Pass out, and we're going to end up with Umbreon on Gardevoir. Same problem. We know that Substitute can happen here to block Toxic if he goes for that. which of course is what he does. He's going to go for Salamence here. Intimidate doesn't matter. Hidden Power puffs the sub. Psychic pretty hefty there at 58%, but the Hidden Power threat will at least get it out of there for now. Regirock reappears. Mence of note was not gaining lefties, looking like a CB Mence here. Another substitute user seems to be a very popular move for Rager. Gonna get popped by Hidden Power despite Intimidate, and the Intimidate is gonna make that Hidden Power bounce off Slowbro at just 10%. Another opportunity for Mence, thwarted by the Regice, and we end up with the Lantern here. Doesn't really feel like Blizz has too much forward momentum or too many actual win cons here. Lantern, Umbreon, Donphan, while all totally fine mons, are all supportive pieces here. We do have our first actual action here, as a boom is going to result in a trade between the Regirock and the Umbreon. But as far as actual win conditions, you've got the CB Mence, of course, though it doesn't have Wish support anymore with Umbreon down. Maybe the Sceptile, but probably not with the Regice on the other side. And maybe the Gengar, but again, not at 26%, and not with the set that he's got. If it were 4 Attack Gar or something, but it is not. So my overall biggest concern, and there is a Volt Absorb trigger with Thunderbolt, my overall biggest concern is Blizz's ability to win the game. He's got decent walls. He can drag this out. We might have a longer game here, but how does Blizz win the game? And I'm not so clear on what the answer to that is anymore. CB Mence is obviously a threat, but there are answers on the other side, and it can't come in safely too many times. I mean, maybe it can't come in safely at all in some cases. He would have to double switch and really make a good prediction, because it's at only 42%, something like a Gardevoir Psychic, a Jolteon HP Ice, a Regice Ice Beam, all sorts of things that would instantly delete the Salamence if it came in on the wrong move. And I think the Regice is going to be difficult to break as well. I think that is another problem for Blizz. He's trying to punch through with the Lantern, but not having too much success at this moment. Couple Paras certainly doesn't help. Ice Beam again, 17%. And Lantern's going to take a nap. Riveting 1v1 we've got here. Now Gardevoir. Sleep Talk Rest, fair enough. Mence going to try to get something done here. Yep, comes in on a Calm Mind. That's probably best case scenario. So Mence does get an attack off here. And of course it's HP Flying, since there's no resistance on the other side other than Jolteon, who is still going to take 54%. But it will at least deter the Mence for now. And it's yet another immediate baton pass out. Gardevoir against the sleeping Pokemon is good news for Rager. Gengar comes in, insta-deleted. And the lead goes over to Rager, 5-4. But the Mence reappears. And it's going to get a revenge kill. In this case, the Slowbro, the sacrificial lamb. 4-4 now. And substitute for Jolteon as it meets the Donphan. BP to Gyarados. Intimidate happens there, but HP Rock does still pop the sub. And we've got a Dragon Dance. HP Rock there, 30% after Intimidate. Donphan does have a pretty high base attack stat. However, haven't we seen this movie before? We've got a Mon triggering a Pinch Berry. And this time it does not do nearly as much as we've seen it do before. It still comes up very, very short of killing the Donphan there. Leaves us in a 3-3 situation. Here comes Regice. Hidden Power Flying, 59%. Hidden Power Flying, Regice at 0%. So Blizz threatening the kill here in the late stages of this game. Jolteon substitutes yet again. BP's out as Sceptile comes in. Gardevoir behind a sub now, staring down the Sceptile. Leaf Blade pops, but big Fire Punch back. Leech Seed, sure, gonna prevent this thing from going absolutely hog wild, but don't know that it truly solves the long-term problem. I don't know about substituting while you're Leech Seeded. That kind of seems like an unusual choice. I think I think the Subtile sub-stalling it out now is a very real possibility. Gonna substitute again, of course, and Fire Punch will pop it, but gonna Leech Seed a lot of that health back as Gardevoir gets lower and lower. And we're gonna continue with this pattern. Substitute Fire Punch, Leech Seed most of it back, rinse, repeat. And of course, it's just substitute again. Nothing preventing the clicking of Leaf Blade here. Gonna pop the sub, Leech Seed, rather than Leaf Blade? That can't be right. Why wouldn't you kill the Jolteon there? That seems like a clear mistake for Blizz. Hope he doesn't throw, man. Yeah, well, on cue. Goes to the Sceptile into the HP Ice. Here's Gardevoir now. And there's Lantern. Gonna CM up against the Sleeping Mon. Sleep Talk fails him as he finds the one thing he doesn't want to find. And yeah, I think Blizz has more or less thrown this game, and I don't want to harp on this gentleman. He's doing his best, and he's a nice guy. But I think if someone a little more experienced were playing in Blizz's seat in this late game, it would be a Blizz victory. As it stands, we are one Psychic away from purple in the finals. And there you have it. And I want to emphasize here that even if Blizz had won, it's not like he completely effed this up for his team. In order to be in this position in the first place, 5 of his teammates had to lose, which they did. And then even if Blizz had won here, he would still need all 3 of his remaining teammates to win as well, just to force a tiebreaker. So it would be very, very unfair to lump the blame for all of this on Blizz. Not going to do that. That would not be fair. But I do think that Blizz threw this game and therefore this match. And I think Blizz should have won, and I think a different player in that seat would have won. And that is an unfortunate way to end your season. But like I said, teams do not get eliminated because of an individual. It takes multiple people losing in order to get to that point. So you win as a team, you lose as a team. And in this case, it is going to be a decisive team win for Purple, taking down this match 6-1, which was not the expected outcome for most people anyway. So it is now going to be Purple in the finals against Green. And any matches that I covered that have not been played up to this point, such as the Darth Tyros match, is just never going to get played and therefore never going to get covered. The moment it hits 6-1, we're done here and everything stops. And we're going to move on to the finals. So Purple with a statement victory. 6-1 is dominant. And they are now against the wire-to-wire favorites, the juggernaut that has been the Green team. So stick around for the finals. Let me know in the comments what you've been thinking about this match and this entire league as in general, because we are damn near the end at this point. Finals coming up as soon as they start those drafts. Don't go away. I will see you guys in the next video.